Bam! What's up, guys? It's going. Just gonna try to get this out of the way. Bam! Alright, we're fucking live. Yeah, guys, got a quick video for you. Actually, I'm not sure how quick it'll be. I'm gonna set a little timer, that way I'm aware of the time. But yeah, I want to do a video for you guys on success. So, I've talked about before what the 3 ingredients to success are. One being the most important one. See if you can guess it. Just think about it for a second. Actually think about it. Okay, cool. It's enough time. If you guessed tenacity, never give upness, whatever, bam, that's right. I would agree on that. And very successful people that I've asked on the matter would also agree, because those are the first things they've told me. So the reason I came to this conclusion, like I've said before in another video, talked to very, very wealthy people. Newport Beach, I don't know if you know where it is. Newport Beach, California, there are very wealthy people, like literally like $30 million homes and Ferraris out in front of their house. And there's some people that are just very successful financially, but also successful mentally, emotionally. You can just tell that they're enjoying their life by the way they carry themselves, that they are psychologically sound, you could say. So anyways, I had asked 2 rich people before. One, if I explain it clearly and easily, I would say, well, I'll describe it this way. I was just basically on a run, and at the time, this was 2010, I was very interested in learning about success and knowing, like, what are the habits that some successful people have, because anyone can be born and raised in a wealthy area, and their chances are they're going to be wealthy, because a lot of times you're a product of the environment. But there's also anomalies everywhere you go, and some people that just start regular and just turn out very successful. So I want to know, what are the habits that successful people have? So I'm running by this house. This was recently built in Newport Beach on Cliff Drive. And as I'm running by, guy coming out of the house is putting something in his car, which is a Ferrari. And as I'm running by, I'm like, oh, I was like, should I ask him? I'm like, fuck yeah, I should. So anyways, I turn around and I was like, excuse me, sir, is this your car? And he's like, yeah. I was like, and this is like 8 p.m. on like a Friday night, I think. And I was like, yeah, sir, I don't know if you wouldn't mind sharing with me what you think it takes to be successful, and just a simple sentence on what you think it takes. And he stops, and I'm just jogging in place, and he looks at me, and he's like, never give up. I'm just like sitting there jogging there. I'm like, never give up? He's like, never give up. I'm like, all right, thanks. And I jog off. And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, and balance. He's like, balance your God, your home life, your work, and blah, 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 working out. He's like, balance. I'm like, all right, cool, balance. See ya, And I jogged away. And I interacted with another very successful man, I don't know, probably less than 6 months later. And it was interesting how he acted, which I knew he was successful, not just because of the way he acted, but how he displayed things. So anyways, I was working at a restaurant at the time, Balboa Island. It's called the Village Inn. I was a server. It was a great time of my life. I lived right down the street. I just basically, serve tables, and then past 10 p.m. I'd be like a cocktail server, and I'd serve cocktails to people while there's like live music. It was pretty fun. So anyways, this one guy comes in. It's probably like 10:30, and he comes in, and he's like, having a good time. He's with another buddy. He's in his like mid to late 30s, it looked like. And he's like, he sits down at the table. He's like, yeah, I guess Jaeger, and I think they start with the Jaeger bombs. I was like, all right, order some Jaeger bombs. And he's like, yeah, and then give me like a Jack and Coke, and give this a guy Jaeger and Coke or something like that. I'm like, all right, so I give him that, And then he's like, so yeah, what do you guys have to eat? And I was like, oh, it was like 10:20. And from working where I was working, I know how strict some of the leadership there can be. When I say leadership, I just mean like the bartender, who she kind of becomes the boss because the actual manager goes home by then, and she's can be very strict with people following the rules who come into the restaurant. So anyways, he's like, yeah, no, what do you got to eat? And I was like, yeah, the kitchen's closed. It closed like half hour ago. Sorry about that. And I'm like, you got anything? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I maybe get some like rolls for you or put something. And he's like, no, I want some like food. I'm like, yeah, sorry. And he's like, all right. He's like, he's like anything. Just give me like maybe some shrimp cocktails, which is shrimp and cocktail sauce. I don't know if you know what that is. I'm sure you do. Anyways, and you don't have to like start up the cook for that. You don't have to turn on the grill. So he understands how a restaurant works. Or common sense that if the kitchen's closed, it doesn't actually mean that like food will not leave the kitchen because of some weird force field. He understands the rules for reasons, and there's people who are regulating these rules, but it's not just a rule indefinitely. That's what people need to understand. That's what this video is about. So anyways, he slams down $20, confidently. It takes like big wad of cash, it's like, bam. He's like, like 3, shrimp cocktails, please. I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll talk to the manager, see if, or my boss, I'll see if she's cool with it. Let's go over there and talk to her. I was like, hey, he's really insistent. Like, is there any way we can just do like some shrimp cocktails? I already talked to the cook. He said it's fine. And she's like, no. She's like, if he does it, then everyone will want to do it. So I go back. I'm like, yeah, sorry. She said no. Like, worried if you guys do it, everyone will want to do it. He's like, all right. He reached back in his pocket, huge wad of cash. He like takes out 4 more 20s, like slams it on the table, and it's like $100 now. I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll go talk to her again. So anyways, I go back over to her. Her name's Michelle. She's a redhead. So go over, talk to her. I was like, hey, Michelle. I was like, yeah, he's really persistent. He's like, you just put down $100. Like, can't like make a make an exception. And I know that she knows, and he probably knows this too, that servers and bartenders work off tips, and they know that tips, affect how your service is. So if you give a bartender $5 when you order a couple drinks in a crowded bar, and you make eye contact with them and call them by their name, and maybe even repeat your own name. You go back later when it's crowded, when he's busy, you just call the bartender's name and be like, Ralph. And he looks, make eye contact with you. He's going to remember that $5 you gave him, and then you get your service, So you're paying for more than just the food. You're literally, when you pay for tips, you're paying for the service and for service in the future. So yeah, he understands how things work and how money works, and unfortunately to some people, that's how the world works, and it's good to be aware of it. So anyways, talked to Michelle, and she's like, all right. And actually, the way I proposed it to her, I was like, yeah, we could split it 3 ways. It'd be like, $33 for you, 33 for me, and 33 for the cook, And she's like, all right, well, just this one time. She's like, and she don't want the money, actually. It's part of her, I don't know. Actually, I'm not going to make assumptions, but she's a bartender, makes enough money on her own, so she didn't want to accept any of the split. So anyways, I gave the cook $33, and he was like all excited to make the shrimp cocktails. Went back over to him, like, all right, yeah, they'll be here in a little bit. He's like, cool, and he's just hanging out, and he's having a fun time. And I realized that he was a very successful person. Why do you think I realized that? So, I mean, yeah, the lot of cash, like that might be part of it, but more importantly, it's his attitude. He knows not to take no for an answer, and he knows that you can't give up just because one door is closing to you or it seems to be closed to you. You have to keep going at it, and eventually it'll open or you'll find another door in. So $20, that door was closed, bam, $100, that's a whole new door, So anyways, that's a very important trait. And so anyways, I was there, And I asked him, a little bit later in the night, I was like, sir, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing with me, in a brief, sentence or a brief couple words on what you think it takes to be successful. Um, and yeah, it actually was really interesting at that time. He literally, like, I stopped him out of his party drunkenness. And it was almost like he sobered up for a second. When I asked him that, he's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, I was like, I'm just going to college, yeah, just working here, blah, blah." He's like, "Come on, sit down here," It's like almost like he recognized that mentality that I have with my young mentoree, I guess you could say, mentality of knowing that success is a mindset and a habit, and it's not something that most unsuccessful people, or just people in general, some like to pretend that people got that way because of luck or because of their circumstance, And anyone who's successful, very successful, will tell you that's not the case. I happen to have the luxury of having a parent who has proven to me through his life, my dad, that being successful is not something that's just handed to you. His dad wasn't that successful. It's something you have to work for really hard. And you can overcome odds by working hard. And working hard, you have to believe in a reason to not give up. You have to believe, you have to have faith that it will work out. And a lot of people might hear that and like, oh, that's just fluffy. It's easy to say, but no, it's more than just a statement, a fluffy statement. It's a mentality. It's a way to act in the world. It's a way to basically just literally not take defeat as an answer. You have to continue going. You will succeed in your goal, even if you're going to have stops going towards your way. So those are 2 examples I wanted to use with you. I have a personal example I will probably share with you at some point. But I thought I'd just leave you with that. That is the most important key to success, and that is never giving up. It's the statement, if you want to think of it, or if you want to think of it as a behavior. It's the behavior that the man showed me at the restaurant I used to work at. And I have even more critical, or even more maybe amazing, you could say. I mean, I guess it's not that amazing for one man to reopen a kitchen in a restaurant, but I've been in a situation where my tenacity has overcome even stronger odds in a way. And I'm not talking about just, going through selection course, because you could argue that's just like, takes mental grit, but actually dealing with people on the other side that have your fate in your hands. But little do they know that that if you won't give up, eventually you'll cave in basically to him, like I did to the guy. But I wasn't caving in, so to speak, because I have nothing against him getting food. It was him beating the rule, understanding how people work, and that is the third trait. So there's never give upness, tenacity, whatever you want to call it, determination. There's that trait, and then there's also balance. What that guy had said, that's very important. And then people skills is very, very important. People skills. So everyone has their own trait and their own way they use people skills, whether it's their own charisma or whatnot. But just being very aware of how people work, and that rules actually aren't rules. They're not inanimate objects. The rules are made and regulated by people. So if you have good people skills, you can get past certain rules. So anyways, hope that makes sense. If you guys are interested in hearing more about this, I will share a situation I was in personally that has proven that if you don't give up, you can go through ridiculous odds of rules, so to speak, and get what you want and live a life that you want and deserve. All right, thank you. Hope that makes sense. If you got questions, write a comment, text me, or something like that. Later.